Who is that tall man?
The tall man.
What is his job?
He's a mild-mannered mortician.
So he's mild-mannered?
No.
Oh, this is more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And after a couple of weeks off, it's going to be a little sporadic because our normal producer is trying to film a movie off and on.
Not in today.
And he's not in today. That might not be his reason today, but that's his reason.
Last couple or whatever,
So anyway, we finally are getting to our second of 4 franchises that we just, for some reason, hadn't reviewed any yet.
Yeah.
And, there was 4 of them, so we're going to do 4 of them. And what was the last one we had done? It was Puppet Master.
Yes.
And now we're on Phantasm.
Yes.
Basic premise, there's a tall man
Yes.
who's a mortician.
Yes.
And he's evil.
I would say so.
And a lot of things that they say about him online, we don't find out in the first movie.
Yeah. So, I guess don't look him up if you don't want any spoilers for the sequels.
True. But basically, he is killing people and then making their dead bodies his slaves in an alternate universe, kind of, that
Right.
they don't really get into explaining in this one. They just, one kid randomly sees it and goes, this is the thing, and everybody goes with it.
Yeah.
Even though the kid has no reason to know
Any of it.
based on seeing it for the first time and just wild guessing.
Yeah.
But that's something great about 80s horror movies is someone will randomly just have the piece of information that they need.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
Perfect.
But anyway, so that's the basic premise. And there's a kid who sees him doing stuff and he tries to take out that kid.
Yes.
But instead of me just going on and on about it, why don't you check out the trailer and see for yourself what it's about?
Exactly.
Eventually.
Phantasm. Is it a nightmare? Phantasm. Is it an illusion? Phantasm. Is it an evil?
You have to take me home.
But why?
No questions. You must take me home.
Phantasm. Is it a fantasy? Phantasm. Is it alive?
There was nobody driving.
whatever it is. If this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead. Phantasm.
And okay.
There we go.
All right. So now comes the point when we confess that we're not actually here to review horror movies.
Oh, no.
I know it is a horror movie review show. So the average viewer may assume that that's what this is about.
Silly them.
No. We look at it the same way, like, the big networks do.
Oh, yeah.
Shows are there for us to put commercials on and make money. And here's how we do it. We offer our services to anyone with lots of money. Kind of like, never mind, I'm not going to say it. You know where I was going with that.
We are a show of the night.
Yes, yes. There's Ladies of the Night. We're a show of the night. Anyway, these are the products that insisted we are the best spokesman for their products as
I
of
kind of get it.
today. Gory Story Time is brought to you by Jebediah's Interdimensional Tours. Come on down to Old Morningside Homestead out on Route 35 and let Jebediah Morningside take you on an adventure of a lifetime. He will take you through secret portals on the property that bring you to other dimensions. And you heard that correctly. Portals, plural. Many companies will take you to one dimension, but not Jebediah's Interdimensional Tours. We are not responsible for any kidnapping and enslavement by creatures of those dimensions.
And by Spiked Balls, the little balls that pack a punch. Our balls are full of yummy liquid that you have to taste to believe. Never sold in a six-pack, they're sold in pairs that we call a ball sack. So, if you've had a long and stressful day, sit back, relax, drain our balls into your mouth, made with pineapple juice to give a little sweetness to our tangy and slightly salty balls. Enjoy Spiked Balls today and try not to regret it tomorrow.
All right.
All right.
An alcoholic drink, I would assume, spiked and all. Now let's get to what he likes to call the meat and beef of the show.
Or as I like to call it, the meat and beef of the show.
Other people call it the meat and potatoes, but he's dumb. Anyway.
I'm keto.
Yeah, we are both. But the behind-the-scenes information.
Don Coscarelli rented all of the filming equipment used to make this film always on Fridays so he could use it all weekend and return it on Mondays, all while only actually having to pay 1 day's rental on the equipment.
The story came to Don Coscarelli in a dream. One night in his late teens, he dreamed of fleeing down endlessly long marble corridors pursued by a chrome sphere intent on penetrating his skull with a wicked needle. There was also quite futuristic sphere dispenser out of which the orbs would emerge and begin to chase him.
The spheres were designed by craftsman Willard Green, who charged the production a little over $1,100 for his services. Sadly, he died just after production had completed at the end of 1977 and never saw his work on the big screen.
The stone-looking interior of the mausoleum was actually constructed of plywood and marble-colored plastic contact paper.
Don Coscarelli's mother, novelist Kate Coscarelli, wrote a novel adaptation based on the film. It was published in 2002 and only has 500 copies. Only 500 copies were produced.
Yep. Don Coscarelli got the idea of the tall man's living severed finger while drinking from a styrofoam cup. He punched his finger through the bottom and started moving it. He loved the visual effect, and decided to include it in the story.
Makes sense. Don Coscarelli got the flying ball scenes were simple special effects.
Wait a minute. Somehow, oh no, 6 and 7 are the same. Oops.
Oh no. Alright, the flying ball scenes were simple special effects. The sphere was thrown from behind the camera by a baseball pitcher, and then the shot was printed in reverse. The ball attaching itself to the caretaker's head was filmed by sticking it on his head, pulling it off, and printing the shot in reverse.
Don Coscarelli took the title Phantasm from the works of Edgar Allan Poe. It's a term frequently used by Poe in his writings.
The film's original running time was more than 3 hours, but writer-director Coscarelli decided that was far too long for it to hold people's attention and made numerous cuts to the film. Some of the unused footage was located in the late 90s and became the framework for Phantasm 4 Oblivion. The rest of the footage is believed to be lost.
All right, that's fun. The coffin that the tall man sees, or that Mike sees the tall man lift alone and shove into the hearse, was made out of balsa wood, empty, and had a rope on the side facing away from the camera to make it easier to handle. The rope can be briefly seen as the tall man lifts up the coffin.
The idea to create the film came about when Reggie Bannister approached Don Coscarelli with the idea to adapt Ray Bradbury's novel, Something Wicked This Way Comes. However, that very week, Bradbury sold the rights to Disney, and so Coscarelli thought an idea for a similar type of project.
The iconic bed nightmare sequence was number 25 on cable channel Bravo's list of 100 scariest moments. Because when you want to know scary, you go to Bravo? Question mark?
I guess. In the scene before the funeral, when Jody is confronted by the tall man for the first time, Bill Thornbury proved to be nearly as tall as Angus Scrimm, so Scrimm had to perform the scene standing on an apple crate.
Because how's the tall man going to be the same size? All right. The mansion used for the exterior shots of the mausoleum was also seen in Burnt Offerings from 1976 and A View to a Kill in 85.
A body double, Laura Mann, was used in the opening scene in the cemetery. The lady in lavender, Kathy Lester, did not wish to be filmed topless.
There are several references to Frank Herbert's Dune, including a bar named Dune and a scene where Mike is forced to insert his hand in a black box that inflicts pain as part of a test.
To get the inspiration needed, Don Coscarelli spent a couple of weeks in an isolated cabin in the mountains outside Los Angeles while writing the script.
The dwarves were played by children. I mean...
That's not the right term.
That's the term that was in...
This?
Yeah.
But nowhere else.
Yeah. Like, that's weird. Especially...
Everything's got a different name for those things.
Online, people call them...
Zombie Jawas.
Zombie Jawas. That's not an official name because they don't...
The official name is Lurker?
Yeah.
Eventually, maybe? Mary Ellen Shaw was cast at the last minute as the grandmother fortune teller. The original actress cast declined the role when she realized they'd be shooting on the day of her nephew's birthday party.
All right. Well, instead of 20, you got 19 because with the glitch, two were identical.
Yes.
Oh, and also, now we will explain...
Rotten Tomatoes exists.
Rotten Tomatoes is an aggregate for pros like us that review movies and give it either positive or negative reviews. We're not on their list of actual critics. But anyway, we're too positive about movies that people think are bad. Unless it's super bad.
Yeah.
It happens. But anywho, and what they do is they just take every review, mark it positive or negative, and then tell you the percentage that are positive. And the critics have it at
75%.
The people can also go on and vote positive or negative, and they give that percentage. And the people have it at 67%, which is
indeed
not the normal way for horror movies. Usually horror movies the people like better.
Yes. I disagree with both of these.
Okay.
What was your least favorite scene in this movie?
My least favorite? Well, it was probably... It happened multiple times, but when the tall man turned himself into what was supposed to be an attractive woman to seduce people and then would kill them during, how would Sheldon put it on Big Bang? Coitus.
Yes.
he would,
He did not.
yeah. And like right at the last second would turn into a man. So the last thing they see is, haha, this woman you thought you were with is a man about to end you.
So,
I didn't like that.
no?
No. That would be a pretty big nightmare.
That's
To like,
one of your fears?
no,
Okay.
but it is now.
Well, good.
It never used to be. I never thought the woman I was with would turn into a man in mid-coital excitement.
Yeah,
But apparently,
Least favorite thing. I mean, probably just like the kid falls into the hole, like it shows in the movie, and then he just comes back and he spouts off nonsense. And it's like he has no reason to know any of that. And aren't they on a time crunch trying to not get killed by the guy down the hall?
sure.
Shouldn't they not take the time to say, "Oh, I just saw a planet. We should worry about their slaves." Why would we worry about their slaves when we could be dead in 10 seconds?
Truth. I would say for my favorite scene, I mean, honestly, it's more if you go back and watch our review of the first, what's his name? Art the Clown.
Terrifier.
Terrifier. I pointed out that it was the perfect 80s movie, meaning it was
Perfect 80s slasher in the 2010s.
right. In other words, like it had just the right amount of overacting,
Just the right amount of gore, right amount of
the story
sarcasm.
not making sense.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is the type of thing I meant that was trying to achieve and did, to the point where I would say this, even though it was at the end of the 70s, not the 80s,
Yeah, this is
still
what Terrifier wanted to be.
and managed.
Yes.
Like without the stories being anything identical, it's the right level of the actors don't act great.
Yeah.
The special effects are over the
great.
top or not
Good at all.
right. Yeah.
I mean,
So
I get that.
but there's something. There's a charm to that, and this is one of many horror classics that definitely follow that.
I mean, yeah, I'm going to go basically right along with what you're saying.
Okay.
And say just about any time anything was happening, for the very most part, every time something was going on the screen, I was thoroughly enjoying myself.
Even the scenes that we said were bad, we enjoyed watching.
Oh, yeah, because did you watch that kid fall through that nothing hole and get dangled above a planet?
Because, sure, that's happening now.
That was amazing. That was ridiculous.
And then he just outright guesses, oh, that must mean this is an interdimensional being that is bringing dead people there to be, little person slaves.
Oh, and by the way, that's what he was
Sure.
doing. What?
But the kid guessed that because he saw what looked like a couple of Jawas on what looked like Mars.
Yeah, basically. So,
And they call it the Red Planet later on, apparently.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there you go. Like Mars and the Red Planet, like it's what a quinky dink.
oh yeah, and just like
Oh, and
how-
one of the facts he found out earlier, they filmed it on Earth. They actually thought it was necessary to say it wasn't filmed on another planet. Because obviously, in the world of conspiracy theories, there are people that would go, I think they might have flown to Mars for this.
in the 70s, that budget, I don't
Hey.
think so.
They faked the moon landing. Why couldn't they land on Mars? Because the moon is closer, idiots. But anyway.
So dumb. Yeah, just I guess like the entire feeling of every scene in this movie, just how unstoppable this guy is.
Because they said so, not because of anything they show him do, but just because they're like, he's a badass and can just do things. And it's
And
like,
you know what?
Sure.
Of course he can. He's
It's like,
tall.
oh, and by the way, that planet, he's the planet. Because
Kind of eventually, I think so.
Because why
he
not?
is the planet that
Sure.
kid was on.
he is the other dimension, which is an entire planet that he is Because.
He's over here as a human collecting dead
But he
bodies
started as a
because he
human over
needs
here and
slaves.
learned how to become an interdimensional planet that
I mean, yeah.
is only a planet
He's
in
got
that
a-
other dimension.
I mean, he's got a human being named Jebediah.
Yeah, sure.
That's human.
Not a recent name, but a name.
No,
Not a
from-
recent
from
name
the
except for certain
1600s.
areas in like Pennsylvania
Oh, right, Dwight.
that don't know that I'm mocking them because they're not watching TV, are you? Especially not on YouTube.
Okay. And then, I mean, yeah, this is just so good.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll let you go first this time. What are you giving this movie?
I mean, I'm giving this a 9.
Now realize, we're not saying it is a quality film. We are saying it is super duper fun and you should enjoy yourself. And
This
if
is
you're an
a
adult
great movie.
and there are ways to enhance your viewing pleasure, we highly suggest.
Highly
Suggest you do.
Yes. I mean, this movie's just over the top. It's ridiculous, and everything about it is just perfect.
It's
So what's your number?
craptastic. I'm going with probably a 7.5 because I had that much fun, but I'm not going quite as high as you. You know what? I'm going to round up to an 8. I'll go to an 8 because it is super fun. Like there are movies that are this bad
Like, I want
that
this to
aren't fun,
Get
and
into my
we give them a much
at
lower.
least a yearly rotation for this now. Like
Well,
this one,
we've got 5 of them, so
yeah,
we've got 4 more
but
to watch.
This one, I don't know if the others.
I believe
can top
currently
this.
that's all of them. Well, we're going to learn how
It's gonna have
how
to
he
be.
is the planet.
It's gonna have to be all. Of
I
them
want to know
because
how he's the planet.
dead. Angus Scrim died right after the 5th movie came out.
Sure, and Freddy Krueger died before the first movie started. What is your point?
No, Angus Scrim, actor.
Oh, yeah. Well,
He died after the last one.
He
Right after the last one.
But it was
finished.
filmed, right.
So that's at least got to be the last one with the tall man. Maybe he's just
or
a planet
him
now.
as the tall man.
Now he's just a planet.
Who knows? They haven't done one since that I know of. But now it's time to give you all the cool information that goes up on the side of the screen. And
There it is.
there.
Nope. They.
What?
Oh, okay. Maybe I was just. Wait. Yeah. No. I was right the first. You were right the first time. I'm sorry.
It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Read it.
Okay. Fact TV channel 1082. Thursdays 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can like us on Facebook, and when I say us, I not only mean Gory Storytime, of course I do mean that, but I also mean Fact TV. Give them a like, and
You know.
do that.
Yeah. You can go to fact8.com and watch a bunch of the back episodes. Oh my goodness, it's black of this and all their other stuff. What is going on?
I don't know. And then you can check us out on Twitter. I am at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase. Or sorry, what do they call it now? As of today that we're recording
X.
this, it's now X. It's not even Twitter.
It's not Twitter anymore.
So what are they going to call tweets? Triple Xing?
I hope so. Yeah, and I'm at Jiggly Fernbrain. I just tweet stuff he says sometimes.
Yeah. If I say stuff, he tweets it. If he can make it sound funny, because apparently I just drop gems around the house and he picks them up.
I do. I just
And of
follow
course-
around and oh wait.
And of course, you can always go to YouTube. You can check out Gory Storytime. When you type that in, 2 pages should pop up because there are 2 pages that are both officially allowed to have this. The Gory Storytime page, of course, and the Fact TV page. Like and subscribe to both because, again, like he said, there's a lot of different content on Fact TV.
Yes.
So like, subscribe, hit the notification, all those good things.
And watch this movie.
And until next time,
I've been your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig,
And
sweet
sweet dreams.
dreams.